Hi, everybody. It's time for Football Friday, presented by the West Virginia Lottery. I'm Tony Caridi, along with Jed Drenning. We're at team headquarters here in Norman, Oklahoma, as West Virginia gets set for a matchup against the Sooners. All right, so everyone knows what the layout of this is. Oklahoma, depending on which your favorite poll is either 3 or 4 in the country. They're 3-0. West Virginia coming off the emotional victory over 15th-ranked Virginia Tech. So we turn it over to you now.
Yeah.
How do you come out on the road now and cut down the team that has been so difficult to cut down?
It's going to be a tall order. This is a different matchup, obviously, for us than it was 2 years ago the last time we were here. We weren't equipped to do any swinging of our own. I think, Matoni, maybe this time, especially on the offensive side, we are. Oklahoma is a team, much like it was last year. They struggled for the first month of this, by their standards, struggled for the first month of the year. Quarterback issues last year, just turning the football over. This year, they're trying to sync up offensively with that O-line. They lost Creed Humphrey, an incredibly special All-American center they had. He's difficult to replace. So as they work towards syncing that up, they've kind of called the game a little bit differently, getting the football out of Spencer Rattler's hands a little more quickly. They always lean on the run game. That's really an understated part of this offense. So I think what we're going to have to do, Tony, is come out, make a statement by smacking them in the mouth when they come downhill without counter gap play, really assert ourselves on the defensive side of the football, knock them off schedule. They're a big second down team. Win a lot of those first downs. Good things will happen on second down. And on the offensive side, we've got to be balanced. You have to find some creative way to run the football, but you got to pop some big plays.
Okay, so let's talk about being creative and running the football. Last week we saw a sprinkling of Garrett Green. What do you think that does to Oklahoma as far as their preparation goes? And now, what's the next evolution for Garrett Green?
Well, I think obviously it's more difficult to prepare for just in the run game itself, in the quarterback run game. It's more difficult to plus one you defensively against the run when you have that athletic quarterback who's a threat on the edge. But when I talk about being creative in the run game, I'm also talking about different looks, maybe even out of that tight end room. Okay, there's different things from a shift standpoint, from a motion standpoint. You can go some 2 tight end looks, move those guys around. You can move your slots around. Just defensively test Oklahoma's eyes and challenge them and try and kind of keep them off balance, because, Tony, what they like to do pre-snap and post-snap is a lot of movement, okay? They'll stem before the snaps. They really challenge your communication up front offensively with that O-line. But even after the ball snapped, they'll chop the front up with a lot of movement too, with stunts and twists and things of that nature. So you have to be really on the same page with the offensive line. But I like the idea of giving them as many looks as possible to test their assignments on that back end and maybe catch them out of place and hit a big one on them.
We anticipate Oklahoma to come out flying because they had their lowest point total since 2016 in last week's win over Nebraska. They've been told basically how poor they are by their fans all week long. I would think the beginning of this game, it's imperative for West Virginia to at least hold serve.
I agree with that. And here's the funny thing about it, Tony. It sounds strange to say all these things about a team that is 6th in the country in scoring, but you're right. They haven't played to their standard for a host of reasons. But as much as I expect a fast start out of them, you really have to find a way to survive that initial salvo, because they're a second quarter team. I mean, they're a team that'll feel you out for 2 or 3 series on both sides of the football, pop some big plays. Okay, that's when things really come together for them. They've outscored the opposition 51-0 in the second quarter. Half their sacks come in the second quarter. They get more creative on both sides of the football. So yes, you're going to have to find a way to withstand what they come out of the gates with, but you're also going to have to hold on and adjust for what you're going to see in the second quarter as well.
And away we go. West Virginia and the Sooners of Oklahoma. We invite you to join us on MSN Radio. We'll have all the coverage for you. Along with the signal caller, Jed Drenning, I'm Tony Caridi, and this has been Football Friday, presented by the West Virginia Lottery.